Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sunday night studentloanjustice.org live stream. My name is Alan Collins. I hope everybody is doing well out there in the world tonight. I wanted to do maybe a little bit of a special live stream here tonight. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and people trying to make decisions about what they maybe can do in anticipation of, you know, loan cancellation, obviously, but also bankruptcy protections. So it gets a little thorny. It's not at all clear what to do. And I don't offer advice, by the way. And for this particular question, in other words, if you have FFELP loans, that is the older style student loans, not direct student loans. So here's the issue. The president can cancel all loans that the federal government owns directly. So FFELP loans are guaranteed by the federal government, but they are not owned by the federal government. So loan cancellation can't happen for FFELP loans. Now, you can consolidate your loans into the direct program. So you can take an FFELP loan right now today, and you can consolidate that into the direct loan program where they are cancelable by the president by executive order. But here is the problem. So first of all, I don't think that Joe Biden is going to wave a magic wand tomorrow and simply wipe away all student loans by by executive order. That might happen. It probably will happen at some point down the road, but I think it's not going to be that direct of a path. So, if you have FFELP loans, if the president was to cancel even a dime for everybody, you would not be able to get that cancellation. So the temptation is there to say, okay, well, why don't I just consolidate my loans from the FFELP program into the direct loan program? You have to sign for a new loan, probably get some fees attached, interest rate gets jiggered around, who knows. But the bottom line on that is that you will be signing for a new loan. Now, here is the first wrinkle. The way I see loan cancellation happening ultimately, it's not going to be all of a sudden we wake up one day and the president has canceled the loans. No. It will almost absolutely, I'm 95, if not 99% sure that loan cancellation will happen, but it will start with the return of bankruptcy protections to all student loans. So, well, or at least to federal student loans. So we've got a bill in the Senate right now, S-2598, which will return bankruptcy protections to federal student loans with a 10-year waiting period. Now, right now, the bill as it is written is ambiguous. So this 10-year waiting period, I mean, right now, as the language is proposed, it would appear that the 10-year clock counts from when the loans originally became payable. So in other words, maybe you consolidated your loans 5 years ago or whatever. Maybe you consolidate them tomorrow, and when bankruptcy is returned, you can still file because you've been out of college for more than 10 years. The debt first became payable more than 10 years ago. But it's not clear that that's going to be true. In other words, if you were to consolidate your FFELP loans into the direct program today, that may potentially reset the clock for bankruptcy. So, not sure that you want to do that, right? So, you know, there's another wrinkle as well. So if you currently have direct loans, that's great. You have nothing to worry about. But if you have FFELP loans, it's a tough thing. I don't want to give any advice on it. I mean, my gut tells me that you should probably hold off, wait and see. Because if it turns out that bankruptcy will become unavailable to you if you consolidate your loans, you probably don't want to consolidate your loans. I mean, worst case scenario, you may consolidate Bankruptcy may be returned, and then Joe Biden does some lame ass, stupid loan cancellation that maybe only knocks off, a little bit of interest or something like that. It leaves you on the hook for a significant portion of your loan, but now you don't have bankruptcy protections because you consolidated. You kind of don't want to go there, right? Um, on the other hand, if you have FFELP loans and you don't consolidate, and then the president cancels direct loans, well, you're kind of screwed there too. So obviously, it's a difficult position to be in, let me just say. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and throw them out. I will answer them if I can see them. Let me just check here. So, okay. I think I can see the comments, so that's a good thing. So there's a third wrinkle as well, and that is that, at least theoretically, I certainly did this with my loans. I had originally had FFELP loans. If you default on your federal FFELP loans, and so they're sitting there with a guarantor, or if your FFELP loans are already defaulted, then you can demand that the guarantor transfer your loans directly to the Department of Education. That's what I did many years ago. So that is another way to get your FFELP loans into the direct into being owned directly by the federal government. Maybe they don't call them direct loans. Maybe they're sort of other. But you can do that, at least theoretically, on paper. I did it. Other people have done it, and I assume that you could do it now. So that would be another way to get your FFELP loans into the direct program if there is a cancellation. But guys, there are so many unknowns going on here. I mean, think about it. Like, I don't know, maybe the president might do a one-time cancellation, and after that date, any new loans that come into ownership of the federal government are no longer cancelable by this executive order. Who knows? There's a great unknown out there. I'm sorry that I don't have better rock solid advice to give. But I'm telling you everything I know, guys, and that's all that I know, and that's all that anybody knows right now. I think maybe the greatest unknown is what the bankruptcy bill that I think, assuming that we push very hard and if everything goes as planned, will pass. What that will mean for loans that are consolidated. That's a very important question. And then obviously the big question is, when are we going to start seeing some real loan cancellation by executive order? I don't think that's going to happen until after bankruptcy is returned. I think only with the threat of bankruptcy on our side are we likely to see any meaningful loan cancellation. I mean, they're pretty much going to have to cancel loans with bankruptcy returned, right? Because they don't want to see 25 million people get thrown into bankruptcy for the crime of going to college, when in a typical year, fewer than 1 million people file for bankruptcy for any reason. So they don't want to see the bankruptcy courts overwhelmed to the point of seizure. And so I feel strongly that only with bankruptcy protections back in place are we going to see meaningful loan cancellation. We may see some nonsense. Oh, Joe Biden canceled $10,000 in loans, and then they make it up in interest and fees and so forth. So it kind of starts with bankruptcy, guys. It really does. And I feel quite confident about what I just said. So back to the question. If you have FFELP loans, what do you do? Hey, we have a question here from Phil, from Kyle. He asked, do you think the forbearance will be extended? I'd say it's about a 50-50, Kyle. You know, they've been extending this forbearance forever. They are scared shitless, pardon my French, to turn the lending program back on because they know what's going to happen. And what's going to happen is nobody is going to pay. That's just the reality. half of all borrowers were not paying before the pandemic, by the way. That's going to rocket up to 70, 80% if and when they turn the lending program back on. Could be even higher. So they don't want to do anything. They don't know what to do. I'd say, and they said this is going to be the final forbearance extension, but I certainly don't believe that. I'd say it could go either way. I'm going to say it's about a 50-50, and that's the best answer I have for you there, Kyle. Now, if I had FFELP loans right now, I don't think I would rush out and consolidate them, go through the consolidation process. If I had defaulted FFELP loans, I might demand right now today that my loans be transferred to the Department of Education. There's another unknown there, however, and that is, if and when they do transfer your loans to the Department of Education, is that considered legally to be a new loan? So in other words, if this bankruptcy law turns out to be kind of crap, and this 10-year waiting period consolidation loan will restart the clock on that, again, if the clock restarts also, if you demand that your loan be transferred directly to the Department of Education, then you'd kind of be screwing yourself out of bankruptcy protections there also. So it's a tough call. I would probably maybe wait and see. And when I say wait, I don't mean sit there and do nothing. I mean, I would be, instead of rushing out to consolidate my loans, maybe even if I had defaulted FFELP loans, maybe even waiting to demand that my loans be transferred. Although that's a very difficult question. Again, I could go either way on that second bit. If I had defaulted FFELP loans, I'm a risk taker, so I may just pull the trigger and I may just say, hey, I don't know what's going to happen, but get my loans to the federal government. Screw you, Mr. Guarantor, Great Lakes, or Nelnet, or Ed Fund, or whoever your guarantor may be. I may just say, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that I want my loans to be owned directly by the federal government. And as long as it doesn't reset the clock, then I'd be fine. But there's a small chance that it would reset the clock. So I hope I've been clear. I probably haven't been. You may want to watch this video a couple of times. I know that what has come out of my mouth has been very clear, but for people out there, it may be very hard to understand. So I don't think I made any mistakes in what I said tonight. So if anything is unclear, and it may very well be, watch what I said again. And if you have any questions, maybe you can throw them out by text. Maybe I should even write an article about this, because it really is sort of complicated. So I hope that I've illuminated you. And again, one way that we can just avoid all this ambiguity is getting a few Republican governors to stand up and with us say, Mr. President, enough, cancel these loans. I guarantee you, if we get 2 or 3 Republican governors to stand up and say that, this loan system's done. It's toast. We're going to see total cancellation of all federally owned student loans. So that is effort worth making. Getting a hold of Brian Kemp or Greg Abbott in Texas, or H.R. McMaster in South Carolina, or Chris Sununu in New Hampshire, or Kristi Neem in South Dakota. Ron DeSantis in Florida would be my number one. If we can get any of those guys to stand up and say, Mr. President, enough. Cancel these loans. I will not be a party to my state being conquered and enslaved by the federal government. That's what you need to do. And in the meantime, keep an eye certainly on the bankruptcy legislation, S2598. As soon as I get more information that provides a little more clarity to this, I will certainly share it. Rest assured. So a couple other comments here. I don't want to be on here all night. Let's see. Deandra says, I don't understand why they can't just cancel the debt. You know, I agree with you completely, Deandra. I mean, the clean, simple solution is simply cancel all federally owned student loans and obviously return bankruptcy protections to the loans that cannot be canceled. I agree. Jane Swichenko says, Alan, I think you are correct. First, we need to have some recourse in place. Then we can negotiate the rest. Consolidation loans are a huge problem. Remember, resetting the clocks on consolidation loans is my number one concern. We would have been much better off without them. We are in a pickle. It is a pickle to be sure. And I don't envy you. I was in the same pickle. I went ahead and demanded that my loans be transferred directly to the Department of Education. So that was a long time ago. Um, so for me, it's a moot point, but for you, I don't know. So good comments all. I don't see any other comments. Oh wait, no, I think there is some. What we need is a potential Republican presidential candidate. Well, now you're talking, Jane. Heck yeah, if Donald Trump tomorrow were to say, if you reelect me president in 2024, I will cancel all student loans, then that would be a great motivating factor for Joe Biden. But anyways, guys, I hope I was clear. I probably was not. I wouldn't imagine that most people would be able to understand what I just said, being just normal people. So watch what I said again if you're at all unclear. Very important question for people with the older style FFELP loans. So maybe the last thing I'll say is hang in there, folks. We got a very strong week ahead. We had a very strong week last week. Look down this group. You will see any number of actions that we're asking everybody to take. If you're here on this group is about getting it done. This group is not about sitting there and watching and worrying and waiting. That's bullshit. If you're sitting there doing nothing, you may as well just leave. We need your help. And you need everyone on this group to help. That's the way this problem is going to get solved. So look down on this group. Pick the most recent 5 action items that we suggest. Very quick actions, very simple to do. You need nothing more than probably email and Twitter to be able to do those actions. They usually don't take more than often just a few seconds. Do those. It will help. But let's make this next week great. I'll be back tomorrow. It'll be back on Tuesday. This is where the fight is, guys. This is the battle. We are the spear. We are the tip of the spear. We are the spear. So keep that in mind. Let's make this the strongest week ever. Good luck. Keep us posted as to your accomplishments. We're happy to brag about them. Godspeed. And God bless everybody.